Welcome to Knock Your Socks Off, the podcast. I'm Ravi, joined by...
I'm Hannah.
And Hannah, what are you knocking my socks and everyone else's socks off with today?
Well, we are both fans of Reddit, and so we are diving into another subreddit called What Would You Tell? And specifically, what would you tell your younger self? And we're going to hear some interesting stories from other people, see if it brings anything up for us, and go from there.
I can tell you right now, it's just going to bring up a lot of regret.
We're going to have a therapy session.
I mean, this is big. This is like big time, like therapy session, no?
So we're not going to go that, we won't go that deep. You know, it'll just be an interesting thing to reflect for ourselves if we agree with these statements or not. How about that? How about rather than saying, Ravi, tell me all of your deepest things you'd tell your younger self, we're not going to go there.
Don't invest in Enron.
There actually was, okay.
Wait, for real?
This is me showing some colors. Is Enron Bitcoin?
No. Enron is the older financial company back in the early 2000s, late 90s that insider trading went under type thing.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, because there were some that were
business.
There were, because I mean, as every subreddit, like it has like different like years of content, and there were people who like 3 years ago were like, make sure you buy Bitcoin. Like that's what they would have told themselves. Sure. Or there was somebody who like a year ago was like, don't do Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the Bitcoin
it is kind of funny.
I mean, I think financial advice is always going to be something you would want to tell your younger self. Like the big one that I always see is the Apple stock.
Right.
Like if
100%.
And this is specific to our age group. If you, instead of buying that MacBook laptop or whatever Apple laptop you got for college, like so many people our age did when they first went to college.
Was that your first MacBook?
Yeah, my first. My first Mac laptop. I had an older iMac when I was in high school that we found on like eBay or something. But if you took that like 2400 or 2200, whatever it was, instead of spending that money on Apple stock in 2000. When did I go to college? 2007, 2008. Instead, you bought $2,200 worth of like Apple stock. Now in today's money, whatever, you'd have like $500,000 or something stupid. Yeah. So it's just like, you don't fucking know.
You don't know.
You know, it's also what you need in the moment. Like I needed a laptop. I didn't need Apple stock. No.
And also, I mean, at least for me anyway, I wasn't financially thinking ahead to where I was also like, I really thought, I mean, like as any of us, I mean, like the thing is we all still need laptops. Like there aren't really, I mean, they have tablets, which basically act as laptops or whatnot. Like your phone is a laptop, you know, my phone does more than my laptop did when I bought it in 2008 or whatever, you know? And so, but still like there's a space where like, at the time I was like, well, I need a laptop. I'm not going to go to college without one, even though we had libraries where you could get, did you ever rent like
a computer?
Yeah. From libraries and stuff or anything?
I don't think I ever went into my college's library like once.
Not once?
I don't think so.
To study even?
I'm trying to remember what it even looked like.
Or to meet between the, you know?
No, what do you mean meet between the what? Meet between the books to do drugs? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Anything of that nature. You didn't go to the library for anything? There were no meeting purposes in a library for you ever?
No, I remember. I did at one semester attempt to join like student council or some shit.
And they change the world.
Yeah, and they had
Robbie's
a meeting.
Ready to change the world.
They had a meeting, and then I realized how like political and dumb it was, and then I just came up to the conclusion. I was like, "This is stupid."
Going out for council, realizing this is too political.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't. Would you think you were just going to get signed up and
I was like, I'm the only brown kid here. Like minorities.
Give me the vote.
Back then, people just didn't care about D&I as much.
Oh, they did not.
I mean, they still don't.
Right, but they really weren't back then. It was not.
1,000%
not where the vote was
Anyway,
going.
we are way off target here.
Exactly. This is what Reddit does to anybody. If you want to go on a Reddit thread, Reddit subreddit, you will go on any tangent you want to. Okay, but the first question that it was interesting because there were a couple different subreddits kind of in the essence of it all. But the first question and or kind of like bullet point that everybody would address was whether or not, no matter what advice they were giving their younger selves, is whether or not they would actually have taken the advice. So my question to you is, would your younger self in general, before we'll get into them because there are fun ones or there's interesting ones, but in general, would younger Ravi, and it could be younger by 5 years, by 10 years, by 15 years, you know.
Sure.
Would younger Ravi in general have taken your advice?
You're an older sibling.
Yes.
So unfortunately you didn't have an older sibling to like.
I'm an oldest sibling.
You're an oldest.
Yeah.
I'm not an older
You're
I have an older sibling, but I have an older sibling than me.
He's a middle kid.
I'm a middle child.
Yeah.
And why I think that's important is because even growing up, I would not listen to my older brother, even though he would try and give me advice. Like,
sure, of course.
Granted, there's not like a lot of time between the two of us, but like
Yeah.
he did high school and college first.
Sure.
So he had some nuggets of information, and he would try,
of course,
to like give me those. And he still tries to give me pieces of information like collagen is a good thing. You should try it. You know, shit like that. And I still don't take the advice. When it came to my older sibling and my older brother and everything, the fact that he tries to tell me things I don't makes me think that if I somehow magically through timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, my older self came to my younger self, I don't think my younger self would listen to my older self. Okay. I'm pretty sure I'd be like, go fuck yourself.
Okay, sure. 100%.
So.
How would, well, I wasn't prepared to ask this question, so you can deny it if you want to, if you don't want to answer it.
Sure.
What would you tell yourself to prove to yourself that it was you?
Tell some really fucked up, deep, dark secret thing that I'm
only you know.
Yeah. I mean, they're like,
you don't want to share this with the people.
Fuck no.
Then you would lose it'd be like losing your totem, your inception totem. You gotta keep it to yourself. You have one, but you gotta keep it to yourself. And it has
to be like one of those things that like only you yourself thinks about. There can't be any like physical evidence of it, right? They can't have written it down in a journal entry or painted it or whatever. Like it has to literally live in my head. I think that's the only way I would trust that the person claiming to be me is me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Don't worry, there's a lot of things up there, so
lots of options. The younger Ravi would have a plethora of things to be like, okay, if not that, then this thing.
Then that.
Who knows? I think. I mean, like, so neither of us are youngest kids or whatnot. You are a younger sibling, but like the space of when you brought that up, I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder if that really applies. I mean, I definitely think that birth order informs a bit about yourselves, but when I think back to of like, would I listen to an older Hannah's advice to myself kind of thing? And I think number one, I'm like a person that like in general wouldn't want to meet a future me. Like I wouldn't want to like know things. Like I would want in general to figure them out. Yeah. But I also think that to me, that's also definitely an oldest kid thing is like, I'm going to figure out anyway. Like I've been figuring out this life by myself the whole time.
Sure.
You know, like why would I start listening to other people now? Like not that I don't take advice from people, but kind of that space of if someone were to try to prove to me again, I think, mine would be some sort of dark seated like dream that I had, because I used to have like pretty consistent dreams and nightmares as a kid. So I think it would be like the person would have to like share the exact dream kind of thing. Cause again, it's something that I wouldn't have written places or told people about. But then, additionally is even if they proved to me that they were me or something, I don't think would want advice or knowledge on certain things. You know, I don't know. Like I just don't think I would. So that's always a funny thing, but it's always an interesting thing to still hear what people would share with their younger selves. So are you ready?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So I will say the ones that I definitely avoided were like big. I avoided like kind of like the big financial ones of like, buy Bitcoin or like, kind of even like people were talking about like the 2008, like,
housing
crisis, like a couple things that were just like kind of like, not like big downers, but like, enough kind of like, ooh. And then there were people that were like talking about when they met their partner and then also like, and like the dream of that will be, and then there's also people who are like, never get married, like never, all these things where people are like talking about all their different things. And so I'm going to kind of avoid those and keep it relatively, in a fun space of things that anybody can connect to as well. So one of the first things was to use sunscreen, especially on your face and neck.
I agree with that. And I got that advice from a ex's uncle.
Ooh.
He was this man who was in his 50s, and I swear to God, he looked like he was in his 20s. And I asked him simply,
you're like, what do you do, babe?
I was like, what did you, like, how is your face? Truly. How did you do that? And he's like, sunscreen ever since I was in my 20s. And I happened to be in my late 20s, and I was like, okay. Yeah. Found a sunscreen that when I sweat and it drips, doesn't burn my eyeballs, because a lot of them will do. So it's a facial sunscreen. I try and make sure I put it on every day, or if I'm going to be out multiple times a day, put it on multiple times. But nice. It's truly really good advice. And if you're vain, human being, I mean, you should do it.
I mean, if you're doing it for aesthetics, but it's also like just smart in general to protect from cancer and stuff. Okay.
Most things for me personally, like advice that I will take is if there's like a vain factor.
Wow, what a tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I told you this many.
You told me, but you haven't told the internet.
I'm a vain human being.
So we're telling the internet now, which is fun. Okay, this one is don't overpluck your brows. Leave them alone.
Ooh.
Now, I think what's interesting to me, because again, when I was saying there's essentially you could see based on like what year someone posted something, like kind of the thing. But what I love about this one is don't overpluck your brows. Is like if you think of almost most women in the 90s, but like the brows were so tiny. Like we've gotten to a place now where like a thicker, lusher, more natural brow is like the space, which I am such a fan of. But they were tiny, dude. And it's like, I have some friends who like did it so thinly, they didn't grow back rightly or well. And to this day, they have to like keep like adding on brows kind of thing.
Wow.
Now, granted, I don't wear makeup on this thing ever, so you don't see my blonde brows, but you got to watch out because like there were some trends. When you think about different trends that have happened in fashion or like, you know, with your body and stuff like that, like you got to watch out if someone's really trying to sneak it down. Yours are nice and natural. I just
plucked mine for the first time the other day, so.
Yeah, and it was okay.
It hurt.
It hurt like a bitch.
Yeah, I probably won't do it again.
But he didn't overpluck them, so this is great.
Sure.
You're like, I had it one time and I'm done.
I think I'm okay.
I'm overdone.
Never grows again.
Yeah. This one is don't join any cult groups.
That's tricky. That's like, okay.
Tricky? Where's the nuance of joining?
Hold on. Okay. I have a weird fascination with cults.
This is true. You do.
And I feel like I think people in general have a weird fascination with cults.
Yes.
You know, I do believe to some degree that some religions can be culty.
Sure.
I also believe political parties can be culty.
Yeah.
I believe truly anything can become
Star
culty.
Wars.
Star Wars can definitely be culty. The whole Stanley movement, the Stanley Cups thing, culty. So cults come in a variety of different things.
MLMs,
yes, MLMs.
Yeah.
So while I'm like, yeah, that's really solid advice. The problem is you may not realize that you're participating or actively in a cult.
Sure.
And it is, definitely if you are able to get out of a cult and reassess everything and then make that choice or make that decision and awareness for yourself. Sure. Yes. The problem is like spreading that advice to others is very difficult, potentially sometimes impossible for certain people because some people just won't see it. They just won't see that what they're involved in, their fandom, their views, their ideology is cult-like mentality. It's impossible to see for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So while it's good advice, I would say majority of people will never take that advice.
So then do you think that once someone's aware of a cult, would the backup be like, get out of any cult groups you're in? But do you think that one can be, because once you're aware of that you're in a cult, then do you still think that people should stay in the cult?
Again, like I'm going to take the jokey route here because like cults are very serious and tragic.
Sure.
And like the jokey thing here would be like a Star Wars fan group, like the 501st, for example. It is very culty. You know, it's not to the extreme levels of like a Scientology cult.
Sure.
But it is still cult mentality, and there are still people that realize they're in a cult. They realize it's toxic, and they still do it.
Yeah.
And it's because it still brings them some joy or whatever. Yeah. Like 501st is a charity group first and foremost. Yeah. And if they enjoy that piece, even though it comes with the whole grossness and cultiness of it all, then if you're okay with that, then that's fine. Yeah. But you know, I think the main key is like, as long as you are not inflicting harm on others.
Yeah.
While you're in said group or cult or whatever, then I think it's okay.
Yeah.
So we're really like this is tough. It's a tough subject. So I'm trying to.
That's fair.
Keep it as.
I know. I guess I thought I was just gonna bring funny ones, and I thought surely
you brought cults into this. Cults aren't funny.
All right, fair. Anywho, you're not invincible. Go to the damn doctor when things are bothering you about your health because it will add up over time.
I'm like a borderline hypochondriac, so I've always gone to the doctors when I'm in a little bit of pain.
That's true.
I think the better advice would be, especially if you're an American with this healthcare system, and like personally, like going through my recent thing with the insurance world of it all and everything, like I think the better advice would be just like stick with it and advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't advocate, doctors, insurance companies, nobody will give a fuck.
Yeah.
So you have to be your best advocate, which is what I would say, as opposed to like, in addition to like that.
Like go to the doctor in general.
Yeah.
Like
definitely go to the doctor
and the practice and take care of yourself. But also like it's a good one. It's a very good note to like. I think as well as like for the sake of telling your younger self this, I think not only are you not invincible, but also like kind of like the doctors aren't really thinking about you that much. Like, I mean, insurance is definitely not thinking about you, but like the space of
doctors are getting you in and out as quick as possible.
They have numbers of people to see.
And I think that's part of the problem is like there is just so many people to see.
Yeah.
And they do get, unless it's their own private practice, which especially in a big city, almost impossible unless you're paying out the wazoo for it. These doctors have to meet quotas daily, weekly, etc. So
yeah. But advocate for yourself.
Advocate for yourself.
It's a good one.
Yes.
Okay, this one's like kind of opposite in some fashion. Not to knock with the doctor, but it's be a little more reckless. Take a few more risks. Challenge yourself socially and in relationships. Don't accept less than you feel like you deserve from anyone in your life.
It's a good overall one. I feel that's more advice given to like individuals that get into toxic relationships, whether like romantically or with friends. Yeah. Or go into a job and then just kind of stick with the job and lose yourself in it. Yeah. But I definitely think that's good advice for sure. Like
I think so too.
It's tough though. It's again, it's great piece of advice.
It is.
But it's not going to stick to a young person until they've gone through some aspect of it. And even then, unless they've hit like all the major ones like friendships, romantically, work, family, whatever, you may hit in one of those areas, but then it doesn't hit another area and you don't really learn from it until like you go through it. Like my parents always like to tell me that I like to learn the hard way. And I think that's true for everybody. I don't think anybody wants to learn the hard way. I think that's the way you learn those, like by going through actual things to grow from. So again, good advice, great advice. But nobody younger than you is going, unless they've gone through it, will take that advice. Yeah. And I think, to me, I think the interesting word here is like reckless, which is also like a really subjective word for the sake of like, as a 20-year-old or as a teen age kid, I'd be like, yeah, reckless. Like versus like being a little bit more reckless is definitely something of like, I've learned something. I've learned some shit, been through some shit. And I don't need to be like 180 reckless. I just need to be like 25% more reckless, or something. I feel like with the reckless, it's when you're a kid, it's like sneaking out of the house at night. Yeah. Or lying to your parents,
getting a secret like earring or piercing or something.
In your 20s, I think the recklessness is like calling out of work and extending your vacation. And then like in your 30s, it's like having those garlic fries that are going to fuck up your stomach for a day.
That's what you think that they mean by be a little bit more reckless? Oh, okay.
That's what I think. Because that's how I've progressed in life.
Exactly. That sounds like
in my 30s, I'm very much like, yeah, I'm gonna have that hot sauce, and I know 2 days later I'm gonna be in pain.
Death by hot sauce, exactly. Where it's like saying like, take a few more risks, challenge yourself socially and in relationships, and you're like,
hot sauce
challenge.
Truly, it's like,
kill my ass.
Invite a bunch of friends over and do like the hot ones challenge. It's a wild fucking night right there.
Wild time in your 30s. It's the best.
I think that should be. I'm gonna suggest this. I think that should be like a Thanksgiving thing. Just invite a bunch of family over, and everyone brings like a variety of different hot ones.
Yo, have you ever heard of the blue chip challenge?
No.
It's like
the hot chip thing? And you do it at the holidays?
I'm just saying, if you have a collection of people, you just do everybody. Because it's also like, it's less of the like scaling of hot sauce challenge. It's just like one chip and you're dead. Yeah. Like, let's see who survives not going to the water or bathroom.
I would want to do that challenge, but not like at my home. Because I would feel for my plumbing and my bathrooms.
Fair.
So I would suggest at someone else's home. Well, yeah.
So just not yours.
Yeah.
But for sure somebody else's home. We don't want to do it out in public. Just not.
That's the word. I would never suggest it in a public place.
No, you would not want to do that publicly.
Unless you're going to like buy the restaurant out 100%. For like however many hours you need to like let people. Or maybe you get a restaurant and you like order a bunch of porta potties outside. I don't know.
Exactly.
Gotta be a way to do it.
So many ways to do it. So many ways. This one was don't put everyone else ahead of yourself.
I don't know why there's a dramatic pause. I was just, I guess, processing that.
Yeah.
That is really good. Again, good advice. Uh-huh. Again, I don't know. I feel two kinds of ways with this one. I think number one, I think that advice is wildly different from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is like our parents' generation, their parents telling our parents, that makes sense. Our parents telling us that doesn't make sense, because I feel like with our generation, the millennial generation, I think we've naturally started putting ourselves ahead of like our friends and family and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think like the next generation is either like Gen Z and the Gen Alpha or whatever. I think they're also already kind of doing that as well. And I think as time goes on, I think that'll just be the norm. Like we are inherently, human beings are inherently selfish people. Like sure. That's just who we are. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if like you need that advice as opposed to like that's becoming the norm.
I disagree with the space that I think, and maybe it's just like I have like extended family that's like been pretty young when they had kids, but like for me anyway, like my parents were really selfish, or like they had to do some stuff, but like they were pretty like keep it all like tight and like very nuclear and very like make sure you're okay over everybody else kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And then my parents were like helicopter parents, where they were like, you know, made sure I was okay all the time, or like, you know, made sure they weren't okay or whatnot, you know. And then I think that's a lesson that I could keep learning, is like a space where it's like, oh right, so like not, but again, take care of everybody else.
I think you hit a really good point too, though. Is like, I think it's different from individuals that are parents as opposed to just a person who's by themselves or people with no kids.
Yeah.
I think that also wildly changes our views and how we prioritize ourselves and people. So again, I think like as our generation, the next generation start having less kids, I think that's where that selfishness will naturally come back in. Where we take ourselves over. Again, like if you go back to the older generations, yeah, I think that was good advice. But I think as we go forward, I don't think it makes sense anymore. So I think that's one of those ones that may get lost in time.
Do you think, I mean, our generation is definitely, the millennial generation is having a lot less kids. Do you think that will keep going?
Yes.
Oh.
I think we're course correcting. Finally.
Interesting. Who knows?
I won't be around long enough to see.
But let's just hope. Let's just hope that the Earth bounces out a little bit out. Exactly. Okay, this is an interesting one. The person said, protect your hearing at concerts, protect your hearing while playing guitar or DJing in clubs.
Again, that's good medical advice.
It is.
I think, where did I see this?
Do you own any earplugs for concerts and stuff?
No, I don't. And I mean, I should take that advice. Like, I like going to concerts.
Yeah.
The nice thing is most concerts that I've gone to have either been outdoor stadiums, so it doesn't get as bad, or smaller venues where, again, it's not as bad.
Sure.
I did read that, like, if you look at, like, the decibels or how loud our concerts get, they are something like 5 times where they used to be, like, back in the 70s, because tech and we just want things louder, et cetera. And the sounds.
Because our hearing is getting worse.
Our hearing is getting worse. But, like, the sounds that we produce are also way more complicated than what they used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is definitely really good advice. Again, nobody's going to take that advice until it's too late.
True. Until their ears are hurting and they're like, why can't I hear anything? You're like,
because, what they should be doing is, like, venues should just be offering earplugs.
Yeah.
But they don't.
They don't. That's so true. Stretch. Literally just like point blank. Just stretch. Stretching is huge.
Yeah, no, I started a stretching thing about a year and a half ago now, and it has done wonders for me. And again, I don't remember, I think it was a YouTuber that I saw. Yeah. And I was like, stretch. And I was like, all right.
Okay, then
all right, random person.
10 minutes of it every morning, which is great, which is so big. Don't ever rely on others for your own happiness.
So I've been told that in a different way.
Oh.
like since I was a child. Because as a child, I was always like, I'm bored, and my family was always like, and this is my immediate family, like extended family, would be like, there is no such thing as boredom, just boring people.
Oh, geez. So like, basically, just like you're not bored, you're just being boring.
Yes. So it was one of those things of like you need to kind of like entertain yourself almost. And there's a cat off screen here just throwing shit on the ground. Mad. Okay, cat.
She says, I'm not relying on people's happiness. Yeah. That's for sure.
But the idea was like, don't rely on others to entertain yourself.
Right.
You know, right. Sure. Find things to entertain yourself and be an interesting person or whatever.
Just be different.
So, I've been told that my entire life, and guess what?
What?
I haven't taken that advice ever. Fuck that shit.
You're right.
I'm on a planet with 7 billion other people. Fucking somebody can entertain me for a minute.
Oh my God.
Like, excuse me.
Is entertainment happiness too?
Entertainment is, yes, definitely. Yeah. Oh. Like, why else would we not be pushing everything towards that? If that makes sense. Like, once we figured out the hunter-gatherer thing, like early man. Yeah, I'm going real deep here.
Once we did sliced bread, I mean, what's better?
What else? What else is there? Like, I mean, humanity's kind of split into two paths, the way I see it.
Okay.
Because again, don't come for me. I know that the human race does not have equality. Mm-hmm. I know people are still trying to figure out how to get the bare necessities. Yes. I'm talking generalization here. But once we figured out farming and how to get food and all that fun stuff.
And how to build fire.
And how to build fire and have roofs and all that fun stuff. Humanity's basically be entertained, figure out the universe. And that's basically where we're at. I lean more towards entertainment as opposed to
like figuring out the universe. Like you mean like space travel, or do you mean like spirituality?
Both, all of it. Just big. I just lump it all together. Oh, you know, there are those that keep pushing towards the idea of like understand the universe, understand the physics of the world, figure out our history and like where we're going, all that fun stuff. But then there is a very large group of people that it's like, I gotta get followers on TikTok, and thus that's what they want to do.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
fascinating.
Listen, if you and I were like the type of people that try and figure out the bigger thing, we wouldn't dedicate this podcast to knocking each other's socks off. We were dedicated to like understanding the universe.
You don't think knocking people's socks off is understanding the universe a little bit more?
Not even a little bit. I think it is strictly just for entertainment and happiness, which is fine. Yeah. That is a fine thing to go for. Yeah. Because the same group of people that are trying to like figure out the bigger questions of the world, that brings them happiness. And that's fine. Entertainment brings me happiness. I'm fine with that.
So then how about us doing the pod is, what if to me it's deeper and bigger?
That's fine too.
Entertainment. So then both can exist at the same time.
Both can definitely exist at the same time. But like that's where humanity is right now. We're in that weird limbo space of like happiness through entertainment or knowledge. Okay. There you go.
Well, to shout out to my knowledge people who also want to figure out the universe or be able to exist in the universe.
I mean, I'm
without having to be entertained all the time.
To your point of advice, it's fine that other people are needed to entertain oneself and find happiness.
True. That's cool. That is fine. That's wild. How about this one? Is heroin is not punk rock?
Is that a reference to?
It's an advice.
Heroin is not punk rock.
Think about it. I know you can get it.
Like heroin's not cool?
Exactly.
This feels dated as fuck.
I said there's all kinds of them.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I mean,
I've always kind of known that, I guess. So I've never been tempted by.
But if someone thought it was punk rock, it's kind of the 2-sentence like horror stories. Right. Like I feel like that could have a really good second horror story sentence where it's like, heroin's not punk rock, and burying your best friend.
Jeez.
Not the move. Shit like that would be pretty tough.
I would also say it's somewhat dated too, because the nice thing, maybe not so nice, but the one advantage of things costing more and this newer generation being socially awkward is they're drinking a lot less. If they're drinking a lot less, alcohol is proven to be the biggest gateway to other harder drugs.
Sure.
So if they're not doing that, then thankfully and hopefully they're not getting into the harder drug stuff.
Hopefully.
So then that'll be a thing of the past.
That'd be great.
There you go.
All right, we're gonna do some like lightning round ones. Now.
Okay.
You ready?
Are we getting too deep into this? Is that what you're trying to say? You're like, please shut the fuck up and like speed us up here.
I'm not. I have so many, and I'm like, wait, I want to get through at least a few more of these because I think they're fun.
Here we go.
All right, this one is: don't get arrested in Mexico.
Don't get arrested anywhere. I mean,
also accurate. But
I'm gonna respond to here. This is game. I'm gonna respond to these if I'm young. I'm a younger punk ass kid. There you go.
Okay,
there you
great.
go.
The next one is: when you order a Whopper at Burger King, ask them to make the patty fresh off the boiler. You will get a fresher and warmer meal.
Go to a better burger spot than Burger King.
Great. All right. Good one too. Strap in. It's gonna get bumpy. Said it. Gonna say that the next time I get pegged. Go ahead. What's the punk rock? What's the punk version to that?
I'm sorry. How is that? Why is that on advice for my younger self about being pegged?
All right. Here's what the actual one is. It said strap in. It's gonna get bumpy, and then someone commented, "Gonna say that the next time I get pegged." So the strap in. It's gonna get bumpy is like a sure. Life is.
I would say use more lube.
True. Oh, don't whip out your cock in front of the whole music class because you were horny. Told you, lightning round. Let's go. Come on. What's your response?
Dated. I would hope that's not happening still.
What? There's so many bad things happening in schools right now. You think that kids aren't also doing that?
I hope not. I'm praying not.
Jeez Louise. You cannot have a pixie cut because your hair is too thick. You will look like a hedgehog for 6 months.
That's the hairstyle currently. It's totally one of the hairstyles. So
totally.
Nope.
Oh my god. Okay, this is kind of a nice one. You gotta let go of your fear. You're gay, you're non-binary, and you're a nerd. And that combo is actually quite fun. Quit trying to hide it because literally everyone in your life is going to support it. There's nothing to be scared of.
Depends on what area of the United States you live in. I'm just making it real.
All right. Well, fine.
In a perfect world, yeah, you'd be able to express yourself or whatever, but I get why some people would be afraid and concerned to express themselves. Sure. And that's fair.
That is fair. It's so fair. Yeah. You're so damn hot and you don't know it.
Great advice. I wish I was told that.
Yeah, right?
Again, if my older self told me, I'd be like, get the hell away from me, you creep.
Get the fuck away. Yeah. You don't know me. You don't know
Probably
me.
call myself a damn dirty ape, Planet of the Apes reference.
Why not? Why not? Being introverted is not a character flaw you need to fix. Learn to adapt to it instead of trying to fight it. It will save you a lot of time and money in the long run.
Therapy?
Being an introvert. Like accepting that you're introverted.
Right. How does that cost you money? I feel like you would save money.
Not if you're not accepting that you're introverted.
Because you force yourself to go out. So you go out with friends, pay for expensive. Yeah, that makes sense. That's actually that's the only advice piece I would want is bitch, stay inside. Home. You will save so much fucking money.
You're fine. You're okay.
Do you know how much money the entire world collectively saved during COVID? Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it was a fun time. I'm saying it was a great time for my bank account.
Great. Exactly. That was thriving. Of all things.
Yeah.
All right. This is the last one. You ready?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was way more.
Well, because I did lightning round.
Okay.
We just had to, I wanted to just fly them at you and kind of see. The last one is when you are 38, be prepared to answer a hypothetical question about your 16-year-old self from a bunch of strangers on the internet.
Why 38?
Because they probably saw the subreddit when they were 38.
Jeez.
And then they were like, oh, damn.
Oh, yeah.
I
feel like that subreddit is probably filled with people 35 and above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then on subreddit, on Reddit, it was referenced a couple different times as old people. Old people Reddit.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Which is 35 and up.
See,
on Reddit.
I would be more curious, and maybe this is a follow-up we could do if we could find it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would doubt it exists because you don't really start thinking about back in my day and what advice I'd give myself until you're in your 30s.
Sure.
But I'd be fascinated to see somebody in their mid-20s giving advice to people in their teens.
Sure.
As opposed to in your 30s giving that advice to teens and tweens, 20s.
Or I think it'd be interesting to see a subreddit where teens or people in their 20s could ask any question they wanted to.
Yeah, this is the internet. It would not go well.
I know it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But like,
it would be fascinating, definitely.
It'd be fascinating to at least like see, because you would have full anonymity in a sense to ask any fucked up question you'd want.
Yeah.
But like, I think it'd be interesting to
see, instead of presidential debates, they should do like AMAs. Based on age groups, right? So the 18 to like 25-year-olds get to go in.
Yes.
Harris, Trump have to answer what these new voters and young voters and what they care about. Because each group is going to be asking different questions.
100%.
Like what you and I would ask a president to be is going to be different from what like, a 20-year-old's going to ask.
Totally. But like all things would tell something about them. Yeah. So
that would be cool.
I know. But I just thought this was a fun one. It's just kind of a little random hot shot list of, stuff. And I mean, to me, it also like, because I think we've said it before, or I know we've referenced Back to the Future in other pods or whatnot, but kind of that space of, the bringing an encyclopedia back to your younger self to, give them all the right answers for gambling and making money.
Making some money.
Like, and again, a lot of the ones I didn't include here were people's like different financial advice for themselves or something, or probably very specific to what they've gone through in life financially. But I love that these ones, kind of spoke to just the human body or human mentality across the board.
Yeah.
Which is
good stuff.
An interesting one. So, take care of yourself and, I don't know, be nice to younger people as they're figuring some shit out too, because they don't know it all.
Exactly.
At all.
And they will fight you on it. They will violently fight you and be like, don't get on my face.
Yeah. Be done.
Be done.
Be better and be done. Do better.
Do better. That's going to do it for us here on Knock Your Socks Off, the podcast. As always, you can find us on TikTok at KYSO Podcast and on YouTube.com/KYSO Podcast. New pods every Saturday. Till then, drink coffee.
And, enjoy Reddit.
You boomer.
Go. Yeah, exactly.